Hello, everyone. Welcome to another artist reception. This time we are honored to showcase the work of Julia Redner of Echo, Minnesota. Julia is a grantee of ours, an artist grantee. In 2023, she received a grant from SMAC to create a massive artwork split between 5 large canvases that shows the extent of her fine line work. And so that's why we're here tonight. We're going to celebrate her work and be able to ask her a few questions. And we may have more people joining this Zoom call as we record this, starting here tonight on May 30th, 2024. I'm Nicole. I am the director at the Southwest Minnesota Arts Council. And we are going to show a video pretty soon of Julia's gallery exhibit. That exhibit is in our gallery through the end of June. So it's in our gallery through June 28th. Checking my calendar on that. Yes, through June 28th, which is a Friday. So if you'd like to come and see her work in person, our gallery is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4. If you need some special accommodations or would like to bring a group to see the gallery exhibit, we can work with you on special times. But please come and see the work in person because it is so inspiring, impressive. Large work is just so stunning, and that's what Julia has provided to us. So how we're going to handle our little call tonight is I'm going to read you Julia's bio, so you have a little background. And then we are going to show a video, and I want to say thanks to Crystal Lawaji, our marketing coordinator, who has put a video together of the gallery exhibit that's currently in our building. We are located at 509 West Main, by the way, in Marshall. And after that, I'll have Julia say hello to fans out there, and then we'll take any questions that people might have that have joined us on the call. Otherwise, Crystal and I and Julia will have a good conversation, and this recording will go on our website so people can watch it after the fact. So thank you for attending. Julia received honors, earning her Studio Fine Arts degree at the University of Minnesota Duluth in 2022. She's a practicing artist and a K-12 art teacher at an area charter school. Always having a brush or a pencil in hand, Julia made a path by observing the varied condition of the human species through her characterizations of random subjects and inserting them into abstract environments. She has always been drawn to the human figures depicted in savagely colored and textured spaces, floating about with no beginning nor end to their world. Having strong roots in watercolors, inks, and gel pens, she has now transitioned to acrylic paints for their strong, flat colors and bold definition. Julia has been exhibited in many online and in-person galleries in California. So we welcome Julia. She is with us. And we are going to say thanks again to Crystal and transition to watching probably about a 3-4 minute video of the exhibit that's currently hanging in the SMAC Gallery. Thanks, Crystal. Great to see it on video as well as in person. A couple of things you'll notice in that video that just played is that during the in-person reception, we had Tom Listle playing guitar. That was very enjoyable to have his music accompanying some casual conversation. And then the other thing you'll notice is Julia also is an author of artist books, and those are available at the gallery right now. Although if you contact her directly, I'm sure she can coordinate a sale that way as well. You can contact Julia through SMAC, or we can work on providing some information to contact her as well. So Julia, I want to let you take the floor. I'd love for you to talk about this series of artwork and what inspired you to create it, and maybe just about your art in general.
When I first started, I started working large scale and a lot of watercolor scrolls, and they were a Strathmore brand, I think, and they were meant to be more so cut into sections rather than just being used as a whole entire unit. And I remember my professors really liked them, but they didn't like that I used paper so much because it's fragile. It can decay very fast. It gets damaged very easily. And after a while, I did find a way to attach them to wood panels, but that's kind of a hassle. And I never really challenged myself using acrylics. I always just fell back onto using watercolors and inks and gouaches because I think those are easier to learn. They're much more approachable and anybody could easily pick them up. But acrylics were much harder because when I painted the panels, I couldn't just put one layer down and call it good. I had to put down multiple, so that way the color would actually start to look solid rather than look streaky. And that was kind of a rude awakening when I started panel one. I thought, oh, great. So this is gonna be my life for the next year. Okay. Gotta accept it now, I guess. But otherwise, in terms of where the ideas came from, I'm a art teacher at Echo Charter. We're a very tiny school. We're not even 100 students there. So a lot of the classes are mixed and very tiny. So some high schoolers could be with some middle schoolers, some grade school are mixed with each other. And I am kind of close to some of the students. And when I would sit there at my desk and just quietly work on my own thing while they were doing figure study and portrait study, I would just watch them draw on like their just like cheap drawing pads while they were practicing. And I kind of wondered what it would look like if the colors and shapes came to life out of the page onto them. And I started to draw them, and I didn't tell them about this. I thought they would find it kind of strange at first, but I would just look for every little chance I could get to draw them and to depict their expression as best I could. And what was weird was I actually wasn't really that good at rendering the human face at first, only bits and pieces of it, but that actually got me to break away from these sort of illustrative expressions where the characters have like large eyes, exaggerated smiles, and so on. But now that I started drawing people's actual faces, it's kind of funny, like I don't really draw illustrative expressions anymore. I don't know if it's because I think they're boring or that they're not very challenging, but I just haven't really gone back to them since then. And I didn't pick anybody like specifically. I just kind of picked them at random, just when the moment felt right. I had a student through the third panel who loved working on those big canvas rolls and the way he was leaned over trying to color in some of the golden circles as best he could, that's when I thought, oh, that has to be panel number 3. I can't ignore that. And of course, they found out about it eventually. It's this giant project. Of course, they're kids. They're going to ask questions. And they would ask me, Miss Redner, Miss Julia, what's that? What's that? Um, that's nothing. Can we see? No, please. And it was just a constant, like how a little kid pokes their parent every single day asking for something. And then finally I said, okay, fine. Yeah, you can see it. And I actually did bring I don't know if you remember this, but we did my mom and I did bring some kids to the gallery and they got to look around and they immediately went to the table full of books and I I got the check today too. Just wanted to say thank you. But I was really happy to bring them there because at first we were kind of wondering, well, do we have time for it? Do we have like we got graduation coming up and there's a fun day and maybe we shouldn't do this, but they were really glad we took them and we were glad to do it. And I could go on, but in case anybody has something they wish to note, I can hand it over to one of you.
Yeah, I just did want to apologize. I would have loved to have been there. I wasn't sure which day you were bringing the kids, but I'm so glad that you went forward and brought a little tour group through. That is so great exposure for young people, whether it's any kind of artwork is just great exposure. Crystal, did you have a question in mind?
I feel like it was kind of answered already. You know, I was really curious about how the pieces come together, um how you if you started with like the person or if you started with the shapes, you know, like what all of that process was. And you talked about that a little bit. Um, but I guess, you know, those little studies, is that what you were working on like during class
Yeah.
periods and stuff?
Yeah, I would like sneak them in during class periods and try and keep it like on a low profile. Like if one of them came to my desk, I would just turn it over. And some of them were sneaky though. I when I went to go get a drink, I'd say one of my kids, Johnny, he would like be trying, we'll pretend this is the pad. He'd be like, I said, Johnny, get away from the desk. But I want to see. You always show me your drawings. Like, no, we don't go near my desk. Leave. But they were all surprised to see how much they differed from the rough drafts, and I was kind of surprised by
Uh-huh.
that even too, because I do remember in the third panel there was a face, another face in the rough draft, but then I worried, well, there was already a big face in the first panel. Am I just playing the same card twice? And then I figured, yeah, that is kind of cheating. Maybe I shouldn't play that card again. I mean, it probably doesn't matter now, but at the time it mattered to me. And even my parents were really shocked to see how much each panel in its rough draft differed from one another. And to me, the rough drafts were just they were just that. I didn't really see a lot of importance in them, but my parents were like, "No, they have to go to the show. They are so important. They have to see
Uh-huh.
where it came from." And I figured, okay, well, maybe she's right.
I
Otherwise,
did
oh,
really
go ahead.
appreciate I appreciate seeing those. They're really cool to see how they change, and also I feel like you can pull a little bit out once you see what the original kind of little rough draft was. You're like, oh, you know, I can see a little bit more of a face over there when I hadn't seen it originally and stuff like that. So the rough drafts are quite artworks in themselves too.
Yes.
Thank you. That's what my mom thought too. And initially, like, I was just gonna cut them up and use them for other books that I'm working on right now, but they were both like, no, don't touch them. I said, well, why not? They're just drawings. And like, there's me not being precious about anything. They're like, don't cut it. Please don't cut it. Okay, well, I guess I won't. I think she bribed me with the trip to Caribou. I think that's what it got me to agree to not cut them.
That's great. That's great. I love your palette of color. I mean, it is so vibrant and leans toward rainbow, you know, a rainbow of color palette. Is that your favorite? The
Oh yeah.
vibrancy?
I love
That's you. Yep.
I love vibrant colors. I specifically love pastels. If I see pastel markers, pastel gel pens, pastel like construction collage paper, washi tape, like I have to have it right away. Like I can't like pass by it and then not be glued to it immediately. Reds are my favorites. I love magentas and purples and pinks. That's what all my kids noticed too. They said, "Teacher, you only like bright colors. You don't like any other kind of color." I said, "Well, yeah, doy. What else would I do?" And that is kind of funny because like I do wish to try at least more muted tones, but I mean my friends and my parents are saying, well, if this is your thing now, you should probably just stick with that for the time
Yeah.
being. And but maybe like on my own time, I would probably try and work with dulled colors and
Mhm.
muted colors just to see how they transition and work.
Yeah. Save that for another period in your life. I would say go with your vibrant, sassy color palette right now
Mm,
and save the others for when you're in a different space and place, you know. I think if you look at art history, artists definitely have they their palette will change depending on where they're at in their life. Yeah. Doesn't mean muted is sad or low. It just means their life changes and they enjoy different things. So I've rattled about color. Didn't mean to do that.
I know I love like I don't know what it is about the reds, magentas, and purples exactly, but I remember like especially what my students draw, I take some inspiration from that too. And I think the picture that really sold it to me was I don't know, I don't think the student goes to our school anymore, but she's really cool, really open-minded, really just very intelligent, very sassy, kind of like fire. And we did this hand assignment where I had them draw their hands like holding something, like holding a cup, or like they're fiddling with like their watch or something. One of them, and I had another student who was taking apart their water bottle, just like something mundane to make the hands look more natural rather than making them look like this.
Yeah.
And I had a student who she took the tape apart and she was pulling it from the tape dispenser roll, and the way that she used those colors, the reds and blues and pinks, made it look so shocking. And I believe the term I used was savage in it, just this everyday little motion. It was very, very striking, and that's actually what gave me a little bit of inspiration for some of those panels.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely inspired by the color when I'm at the office and get to walk through the gallery on the way to the printer or whatever. It's always just so stunning. Just it stops me so I can look at another piece for a while and then head back. Crystal?
I don't think I have any other questions. Just yeah, I love your work. It's very imaginative and I really enjoy it. I bought all three of the books that you had in there too because
Oh
I
yeah.
wanted to be able to sit with them and have them and look at them and be inspired by them. So I'm just very glad you're in the gallery and I'm really glad
Okay.
that you're teaching students and inspiring them. And also, I think it's so great that they got to come in and have a gallery experience as a class and see, you know, what happens when artists are able to display their work like that. So
Yeah. I do have one last question for you, and you can certainly share anything else beyond the question. But my question is, what's next? What are you planning to work on next, or what are you already working on?
I was able to get another set of those size of panels, and my parents thought I should keep going on them, and I agree. I do think I should keep doing them, just to have something to stay busy on. But I would like to apply for another grant soon. I just have to get that report in on the SMAC site. But otherwise, that's my next landmark. Just apply for another grant soon. And I would like to use up a canvas roll to get some of my own canvases stretched because it's been sitting there forever. I don't want to work on it when it's loose. I don't think that's a great idea. So if somebody, I think the Blix art place said they could professionally stretch it, that would be great. I would like that to be a potential project if possible.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing more of your work, whether it's continuing this series or you taking off in a whole new series with of these big artworks. We look forward to seeing that. Look forward to seeing a grant from you again. As a reminder to folks watching, Julia Redner's work is in the gallery until Friday, June 28th. Our office is open until 4 on June 28th. So stop in and see us Monday through Friday. If you have any questions about her work or her books for sale, please contact info@swmnarts.org and we'll connect you with Julia. And stay tuned for what's next in the SMAC Gallery. We are looking forward to Andrew Webster, a potter that will be exhibiting in August and September. July and August. Thank you, Crystal. July and August. So thanks for being with us, Julia. We appreciate your time. Thanks, Crystal, for the video. And thanks everybody that's watching. Take care and keep doing art.